Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
The energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, reppin' both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire misunderstood. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline greens, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. Rob hype on the mic, CP's the fire spark. Together they ignite, voices like the park fans dripped in jerseys. Legacy bold, the Metropolitan story forever told. Turnstile spinning, the crowd floods the gates. This is family, no time for debates. Crack of the Batman, the roar never fades. Queens in the blood, it's how champions are made. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline gleams, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. 7-line swagger, vibes electric and wild. Mets legacy golden since I was a child. Orange crushed skies, let the battle ignite. Ride for the home team till the last fight.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Amazing Mets pregame show right here on the channel and on X. And welcome to Football Sunday as the NFL starts their week 1 of the season. But we do have some baseball to play here as the Mets have 20 games to go to determine if they're actually going to make the playoffs. And I think they're going to, right? I don't care if it's the division. I don't care if it's the wild card. Too many people are way too focused on how they make the playoffs than doing and making the playoffs. That's all we should care about, making the playoffs. That is all we should care about, because the only thing that matters in baseball is making the playoffs. When you make the playoffs, anybody has a chance to win. There is no dominant team in Major League Baseball. No dominant team in Major League Baseball, right? You can tell me the Brewers all you want. That's nice. But they're a team of chokers in the postseason. They're notoriously chokers in the postseason. So leave the Brewers to the side. They're a really good team. Best record in baseball. Outstanding. But history says another story. And again, they can go on and go on a great run. But there is no team that is dominant here in baseball. The Dodgers can't get out of their own way. Right? Every year, it's the Dodgers and Yankees in a World Series, right? Every year. The favorites to win, to make the World Series is the Dodgers and Yankees. Every year. Every year. So, every year, those two teams are World Series favorites, and they're going to play in the World Series. Every year. Every goddamn year. And that happened last year out of all the times they've been doing that. And we all know why the Yankees made the World Series last year, because they played a bunch of bums in the American League. And the Dodgers, who were the hottest team in the playoffs, they were the best team, but they got hot at the right time. Their pitching finally showed up in the postseason. Go figure. Which I still don't believe the Mets are capable of doing. Now, the young kids have a lot to prove. I don't care what anybody says. None of these guys are proven. McClain, as good as he's been, proves what? He's pitched well, but let me see it in the playoffs. He deserves a lot of credit. Jonah Tong, right? I know not enough people were blaming Jonah Tong yesterday, but why not? If that was anybody else's name other than Jonah Tong, people would have complained about the outing. Well, he gave up 3 home runs. He gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. If that was a Clay Holmes outing, if that was a David Peterson outing, we would have complained about it. Because it's Jonah Tong, he's off limits to criticism. Stop it. He gave up 4 runs yesterday. I don't care if it was on 3 hits. Those 4 runs cost the Mets the game. And you could say all you want about the offense. Look, the base runner was bad. The offense didn't come through. They left 11 men left on base yesterday. They should have scored runs. But you know what? It's okay when you have the best offense in baseball over the last 30 days. You're allowed to have a game like that. The New York Mets are allergic to low-scoring games. They can't prevent the other team from scoring 4 runs or less. That's a problem. When the Mets have to score 5 runs or more to win every game, that is not sustainable. I keep on saying that, but people don't want to listen. People don't want to listen. This team can't survive on an offense scoring 7 runs per ball game. No offense is going to score 7 runs per ball game for the next 3 months. It's not going to happen. The pitching needs to be better. You are not winning games in the postseason if your pitching is going to give up 5 runs a game. The Mets are giving nearly 6 runs per game over the last month and a half. And let's not even go back 3 months because it's just as bad. The fact that the pitching is still a problem, even with the kids, because you know why? David Peterson still pitches. Clay Holmes still pitches. Minaya is probably starting tomorrow. And Kodai Senger's in the minors because he's terrible. Let's not act like the pitching is all of a sudden fixed, because it's not. Jonah Tong has shown you, what has he shown you? Nothing. Nothing. He showed me that fastball that he probably sneaks by minor leaguers on the inside corner is getting rocketed over the fence against a major league team, against a Cincinnati Reds team that are falling apart at the seams. I'm sorry. His fastball was getting rocked yesterday. Those home runs were rocketed out. And you could talk about all you want. The guy gave up 2 home runs in the minor leagues in AA and AAA this year. He gave up 3 in one game. Why isn't that alarming? It's not like they barely went over the fence. Those were shots. So I'm sick and tired of people not criticizing the people they need to criticize. Criticize people. Criticize them. Jonah Tong was not good because, again, just put the name on another pitcher. Kev, but guess what? He's in the majors. We can blame Stearns for that, but he's in the majors, right? I don't want to hear it. Look, I don't think these guys are all developed yet. Again, Jonah Tong's working with 2 pitches that are actually developed to the point where he deserves to be here. He's pitched really well, so he deserves to be here. I have no problem with them being up here. They should have been up here sooner than what they are. We all know the plan was bullshit. This plan was for Montaz and Clay Holmes and Sean Minaya and Kodai Senga to be a part of this rotation with David Peterson, along with Tyler McGill. These guys were never an option starting the year. They never even talked about these kids, about being in the rotation in spring training. Never. Let's not act like they were. Too many people are acting like these guys were so prone to be here. It's embarrassing. Met fans, do better, please. The fact that David Stearns failed to get a real starter, top 2 starter in the offseason is a problem within itself. And don't tell me he couldn't. Yes, he could have. He could have paid for one or he could have traded for one. It's amazing to me because, you know, Jonah Tong, Nolan McLean, and Brandon Sproat are all going to be Cy Young Award winners and going to be great pitchers. Like, which team actually gets that to happen? Very rarely. Very rarely. You might get one that might be great, and the other 2 might be average, maybe slightly above average, which is fine. But let's not project these guys to be great pitchers when they've pitched very little. Like, we got to stop. Like, look, I'm not taking it easy on the kid. If one of these young pitchers blow a game because they can't pitch well or they're not ready yet, and we lose games and we end up either out of the playoffs or we're on the verge of hanging on by dear life, who are we going to blame then? No, everybody's going to blame the hitting coach and the pitching coach and the manager and David Stearns, but they're not going to blame the young kids because you can't. You're not allowed to. The same shit that goes on with Pete Alonso is why we're in the problem in the first place, because we're afraid to blame our homegrown talent, even though the Mets have been notoriously bad with our homegrown talent, and we're afraid to do it. It's annoying, and it's on social media. It's on YouTube. Stop giving these guys excuses. Once they're up here, they need to do their job. That includes Acuna, Beatty, Vientos, Alvarez, all those guys. Now it's McLean, Tong, and Sproat. There is no time to figure it out. When are you going to figure it out? Because you know what? If we do make the wild card, in those 3 games, who the hell do you think is pitching for the New York Mets? It's probably not Manaea. It's probably not Kodai Senga. So out of the 4 guys in McLean, Tong, Sproat, and Peterson is going to be your 3 guys pitching in the wild card series. Are you confident in that? You are nuts if you are. You are nuts. Do I think Nolan McLean does have the stuff, does have the demeanor to do it? Sure. I do that. But there ain't nobody else I trust. David Peterson is out of that circle of trust right now. Now, there was some good signs in his last outing, but not good enough. Even though the Mets won, it wasn't good enough. But it's like we're immune to act like these guys might not be as good as everybody's portrayed. It's okay. But when you have to depend on these guys being saviors, because that's what it is. Let's make no mistake about it. David Stearns should be thanking his lucky stars that these kids are in the minor leagues and showed what they did in the minor leagues. Because if they were half-assing it in the minors, we'd be in big trouble. And right now, I still think we're in trouble. I still think we are. I still think we're going to make the playoffs because I think the Giants are going to not be good enough. I think ultimately they're going to take a step back. They've been hot for a month, and that's how they got back into this. But that's all they've been is hot for a month. And Cincinnati's falling apart. And the Padres haven't played great. So I think the Mets are going to make the playoffs. But as I worried about with the pitching last year in the playoffs, is that it's not – these are guys that haven't done it for years in Manaea and last year with Severino, often injured, not as good as they used to be. And they kind of broke down in the playoffs. You saw it with Sean Manaea. Every game he pitched less and less and worse and worse. So it's okay. But people are acting like everything is okay. Like, let's not be so hard on these guys. So if they blow us a lead in the wild card and we lose a playoff spot, who we're going to blame? I know who we're going to blame. We're going to blame everybody that we shouldn't be blaming. Because at the end of the day, these guys are top 100 prospects. They're supposed to be ready. This is the problem with fans nowadays when it comes to baseball. We bring these guys into majors who are not ready, and let's be honest, the Mets have done a terrible job letting these guys be ready on this roster. It's everybody, right? If they were so ready, they need to perform consistently. Not sporadically, like every Mets prospect so far that we're talking about. Even Mark Vientos. Brett Beatty, sporadic. Alvarez, number 1 prospect in all of baseball. He's played nothing like that, right? I don't need a singles hitter from Francisco Alvarez. I can find one of those. We need power from Francisco Alvarez. Luis Angel Acuna, I don't know what the hell he is. But you know what? He doesn't hit enough to start. So he's a glorified pinch runner and defensive replacement. That's what he is. That's another top prospect that we're wasting. That we have too many guys in the same position, which is stupid already, which is the roster construction that makes no sense. But that's the problem. We keep on bringing up guys who are consistently not ready because of why. Why is that? Why aren't they ready? I'm going to tell you why. Because they bring them up probably too soon. Because the guys the Mets have at that position, and you can blame Stearns, you can blame whoever you want. But the guys that were supposed to be proven guys, like last year, Jeff McNeil was our second baseman. He sucked so badly, the Mets had to bring up Jose Iglesias. Now, it worked out, but they got very lucky with that. Let's be honest. Where's that magic from the Padres with Iglesias this year? Like, the Mets got very lucky with Mark Vientos last year. Brett Beatty was their starting third baseman. Like, it's amazing. Like, too many of these guys, like Harrison Bader was supposed to be our proven center fielder. He sucked so much offensively that Tyrone Taylor had to play. Like, that is on Stearns. Like, you can't you can't construct your team with all homegrown talent because it makes the fans feel cute inside and feel happy inside. Because I think that's the only people care about. Like, people care about the home run record for Pete Alonso way too much, which isn't very impressive in Mets history. Mets history isn't very good anyway. Like, let's not act like this is okay. Like, I just don't understand. Like, everybody wants homegrown talent because it looks better on paper. Like, it gets people excited. And that's fine for like one or two guys. But when you constantly bring these guys up and they don't perform, or they don't look as good as they did last year, and people still say, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. And then the year's over and we're doing, off-season shows talking about the same shit again. Because we're going to talk about Brandon Nimmo, and we're going to talk about Pete Alonso, and we're going to talk about these guys again. Why? Because the team has won nothing since they've been here, including Jeff McNeil. Right? If playoffs matter, divisions matter, World Series matter, you got to hold them accountable. Right? 2022, Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo was a big part of that team that choked. Their fault. Right? They want to be the faces of the franchise. They get the majority of the blame. You can't give them all the credit when things are going well, but not give them the blame. This is the problem with Mets fans in general. It's been a problem. It really has been. And the same thing goes for Jonah Tong yesterday. There was way too many people excited about that start. You're losing a playoff game if he pitches like that. Just so everybody knows. It wasn't good enough. Your team needed you to do more. The only thing he did good was go in 6 innings, which doesn't happen for this team. Like, that's the problem. And Dwayne, I understand that. And I do get the fact, Steven, can we blame Mendy for that loss? Why? The Mets scored 3 runs yesterday. Before any bullpen arm came in, it was 4-3. So the Mets didn't come back in the game. Yeah, the Mets could have scored more, but they've been scoring every day 5+ runs. They don't do it once, and the offense gets blamed. You see the stupidity in that? Like, that's the stupidity. It makes no sense. Like, they've been the best offense in baseball over the last 30 to 35 games. The only thing they don't lead in number 1 in is home runs, and that's the Yankees. Like, this Mets team don't win low-scoring games anymore. Yeah, and guess who actually gets paid to actually not give up runs? The pitching. The pitching that David Stearns put together. Like, it's stupid. These are professional ball players. Yet they get slightly criticized, and you can't blame the homegrown guys because you're not allowed to, because you get killed from the fan base, which is hilarious. Like, we just, like, everybody, if we all forget about April and May, right? Everybody was like, oh, the pitching's great, when the Mets were winning 2-1 games, 3-2 games. They haven't done that since May. They don't win those games. They lose them because they can't hold leads. They can't give up less than 4 runs. Yeah, but it's impossible not to give up runs in a season. Yeah, okay. Exactly. You just made my point with the offense. The offense, no matter what, is not always going to score 6 runs per game, 7 runs per game. It's not sustainable. It's not. It's really not sustainable. You got to win low-scoring games. Why are the Mets allergic to winning 3-2 games? They don't do that. The Mets have to score at least 5 runs a game to win. That's ridiculous. No team does that. No team can sustain. And this is the big reason why the Mets haven't gone on winning streaks, by the way. Because you got to win those 2-1 games, the 3-2 games. You can't win 7 in a row by scoring 7 runs every game and winning games 7-6, 10-9. It's not happening. That's why you haven't had a winning streak since our 7-game winning streak. And that was a while ago. That's the problem. Yeah, committee, I agree with that. That's a problem. What are they, 0-55 trailing after 8? That's a problem. Now, the majority of those games was from June, April, May, and June. Right? The majority of losing after from the 8th inning on. So, again, that's a problem because I think the only other team that hasn't won a game trailing after 8 was the Orioles, and they're 11 games under 500 and not a playoff team. Again, that's a problem. But look at the problem with the New York Mets. How many leads have the Mets have blown consistently? Like there was a game the other day where they had 4 leads that were blown in a game. They eventually won that game, but that game was 9-7. Like what? Well, Kev, good, okay, but if pitching was good for that month, everybody went crazy that the Mets have great pitching. When it was basically a month of great pitching. It wasn't even May that was actually good. Look at the numbers. They jump up dramatically. They were still good numbers in May, but they weren't as good as April. So the offense is finally doing what they're supposed to do. This was the offense we expected, scoring 6-7 runs per game. This was projected. We never projected for this rotation to be any good. Too many people thought they were, but you were blind to the obvious that they were just coming off of spring training very fresh. So it is what it is. The fact of the matter is the pitching needs to be better. The pitching still hasn't been better. Jonah Tong, I love the 6 innings. That's important. And yes, he did give his team a chance to win. But at some point, you got to start winning 3-2 games, 2-1 games. Like, can anybody find me the last game the Mets won that was 2-1 or 3-2? It might be 1 over the last 35, 40 games. That's a problem. And football is going to start in a little bit, so we're going to talk about the game just so everybody can go watch their football games. My team played on Thursday, so I'm just watching whatever at this point. I mean, the Jets are on right now, and my dad's a Jet fan, so he unfortunately has to deal with the Jets and the Mets, unfortunately for him. Dolo, I mean, we haven't seen Sproat start yet, so it's hard to judge that, but let's say Sproat pitches good or similar to a Jonah Tong. I think you have to throw Tong, no? But knowing the Mets, they throw McClain, they'll throw Peterson and Manaea because this is what Stearns does. I wouldn't be shocked by this. You're not gonna not start Sean Manaea, who's making $20+ million this year, not in a wild card. If they do that, then their whole plan and their whole offseason was a complete lie. Because I was told when Sean Manaea got signed by the Mets that that's our ace. That was what Stearns says. Go back to when we signed him. So if you don't pitch Sean Manaea in the postseason or in a wild card series, if the playoffs start today, that's a huge detriment. That's a huge red flag for David Stearns. So the lineup for the New York Mets is Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Nimmo in the cleanup spot. Just annoys me, but whatever. He's been better, so we'll see. Marte batting 5th DH, and Jeff McNeil playing second base. Francisco Alvarez catching, batting 7th. Brett Beatty batting 3rd, and Cedric Mullins batting 9th and playing center field. Obviously, Brandon Sproat in his MLB debut. He's been really good, other than that one bullpen outing that they decided to waste his time on. He's been really good in the minors, just like Jonah Tong, just like Nolan McClain. I don't give a shit about the numbers in the minor leagues. I don't care how many strikeouts he has in the minor leagues. Doesn't mean nothing to me. How many innings can you go and how many runs you give up? That's it. I don't care if you can have 2 strikeouts, but if you give me 6 innings of 2 runs or less, I'm going to be very excited about that outing. You know why? Because that's a really good outing. So, listen, Hunter Green is a really good pitcher. He isn't great, but he can be wild at times. He's been one of their better pitchers. He's been pretty decent, like not great, but he is a guy that can get a little wild. And again, I have no idea what we're going to get from Brandon Sproat. I hope we get 6 innings of no runs. But I don't know. I really don't know. It's kind of a question mark right now. But let's get it done. Brandon Sproat, you're a top 100 prospect. You're one of the top 3 pitching prospects in the Mets system. Prove it. That's it. These guys have no excuses. They're top-rated pitchers in Major League Baseball in the farm systems. Top 100 pitchers. Show it. That's it. There's no excuses. I don't want to hear, oh, it's his first start, give him a break. We got 19 games to go here, and we're going to Philadelphia. Like, what break do you want to give him? That's it. Let's get it done. Put the big boy pants on. You're a major leaguer. Act like one. Pitch like one. Let's go. This Reds team isn't very good. Let's be honest about that. They finally hit home runs yesterday, which they never do. That's another bad sign from Jonah Tong, by the way. The Cincinnati Reds can't hit home runs. Yet, they hit 3 of them yesterday off of one of our phenom top pitching prospects. 3 of them. When he only gave up 2 in the minors. So that should be a little concerning to everybody, let alone that the Reds don't hit home runs. Ellie De La Cruz hasn't hit a home run in like 2 months. Yet, you haven't scrubs hit home runs. So, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Win another road series. And let's head to Philadelphia. And regardless of the division or not, the Mets have to win games. If that gets us closer to the division, great. It's going to be a stretch to win the division, but let's be honest. We got to win games regardless of who we're playing. That's the only way we're going to make the playoffs and continue to lead in this wild card. With that said, guys, enjoy football Sunday. Enjoy Mets baseball. And I will be doing a post game after the game. So keep on hanging out with me in the post game. Hopefully we're talking about a Mets win. And we get to see all of 1 o'clock football by the time I get on the post game show, guys. So let's go Mets. Enjoy the game. Congratulations to Brandon Sproat, MLB debut. But he's got to pitch well. Because I'm not afraid to criticize guys that are homegrown. Too many people are. So let's go Mets. Brandon Sproat, let's kick some ass today and win another series, guys. I'll see you on the post game.
Seven train rumble, headed to the field.